I retired after 35 years of teaching and started a 501(c)(3). I was very proud of what we did, but we just couldn't get enough monetary underpinning to keep the doors open. And so we had to shutter after about a year and a half or 2 years. I need a purpose. I need to be doing something, preferably where I'm serving other people. In one of those crazy 2 seconds and your life takes on a different direction moments, I had a former student who, as we were talking about her wedding, she said, as she was hanging up the phone, as an aside, she said, "Hey, by the way, we're having trouble with our wedding officiant. You wouldn't happen to know anybody who could do a wedding, do you?" Uh, research, found out that Michigan is one of 4 states that will let a non-clergy member solemnize a wedding. I texted her back and I said, "I think I found you an officiant. What do you think?" And I have never seen so many OMGs in one text thread. And I just filled up the screen. She was like, "That would be amazing." So it turned into this 9-month odyssey of me going over to their home and interviewing them about how did you meet and who I asked out the person on the first date and what were your first impressions and who popped the question, and just trying to get to know every ounce of who they were as a couple so that I could capture that in a wedding ceremony that I wrote every word from scratch. I was so moved by what it meant to be there for a couple at such a just a life-altering moment of theirs that I decided I wanted to do that as many times as I could. And so I went on to get additional certification. I'm now a humanist celebrant. And humanists, even though it's a secular organization, they were formed by the Quakers like 170 years ago or something, and they still have that religious designation. And so I now basically have clergy privileges in pretty much all 50 states. To me, the most profound moment of a wedding experience is the ceremony. That is the point in time where you stand looking at another human being, holding their hands, looking them in the eye, and saying, "Of all the humans I've ever met on this planet, you're the one I am going to commit the rest of my life to." I love being there to officially, put the legal stamp on it. I love being there to try to craft a wedding that speaks to each couple's values, their experiences, their interests, their personalities. And as a former English teacher and somebody who's always loved writing his whole life, and somebody whose entire teaching career was built on building relationships. It was never curriculum first, and then maybe, the kids might like me afterwards. I always started with the relational piece first, and then, built the curriculum around that. And so this also is a place where I feel like my heart and my desire to connect with other humans and be there for them at what is a beautiful but also a highly stressful time, and to be maybe that eye of the hurricane where they can, every time they touch base with me, it's like, wow, you know what? The wind just died down a little bit. I can breathe again. And so I consider every one of those such a precious opportunity to step up for a couple who's looking for somebody to be sort of their anchor in the, amidst the storm.